picture, if you will, a kind of little carnival atmosphere. They had set up a giant inflated slide. The slide was built in the shape of the upraised stern of Titanic. And you would climb up to the rail of the stern and then slide down and go, whee! Police never found out exactly who popped that thing. Gee, we still get, you guys are getting this for free. I haven't even started yet. It's, according to this, it's only 4:18 on Friday, 11:10 and 66 degrees. That's like 19 degrees for you people who use that Celsius thing. Oh, hey, Night Dragon, come up here. Come up here. Come here. Come here. Stand here. How's your singing voice?
Not good.
Great. Ready? Marikita rakyat Singapura sama sama menuju bahagia, cita-cita kita yang mulia, berjaya Singapura. Everybody now. Marilah kita bersatu dengan semangat yang baru. Semua kita berseru. Majulah Singapura, majulah Singapura. Now, do you know what the words mean?
No, I've forgotten.
Exactly. That was the national anthem of Singapore. God bless them. He's from Singapore, by the way. According to the law, the national anthem of Singapore must be sung in the Malay language. Am I correct? But only about 15% of the population speaks Malay.
Yep.
So 85% of the people have no idea what the national anthem is saying. I want to find somebody from Malaysia and say, what's it really saying? And they'll say, no, don't say, it's a joke. We played on Singapore. Because they wouldn't become part of our country, the bastards.
They kicked us out.
What?
They kicked us out.
I thought it was the other way around.
No.
What? Oh, the Malays kicked you out.
Singapore was part of Malaysia at first.
Okay,
Gained independence and they kicked us out.
I want to make sure I get this straight. Malaysia kicked you out.
Yes.
Just wondering.
And then look where we are now and where they are now.
Well, you're in Seattle. Yes, Singapore recently, they lost it was your first president, wasn't it Lee Kum Kee? Or, yeah, Lee Kuan Yew. Something that really upset me, when To the Ranting Griffin and I were in Germany, we did this little playful thing. We would look at like a bar, and we would say, that bar is older than our entire country. And, okay, it's true, because that's been a bar since like the 13th century. Then, as we got more things from the bar into ourselves, we would start saying, see that lamppost? That's older than our entire country. See that cat over there licking his butt? That cat is older than our entire country. I don't do that anymore because of these guys. When it occurred to me that I'm older than their entire country. Get off my stage. But embrace me first. You're a lovely fellow. Okay, that killed exactly 4 minutes. Hi. What in the world could this possibly be? Is that for me? Oh, however did you know? Aren't you sweet? Can I open it? Can I open it? You didn't leave the price tag on, did you? Because they left it. Well, anyway. I know this is. I recognize the bottle. This is a Daiginjo, isn't it? Wakatake Junmai Daiginjo Sake. Gurushito, as the Japanese say. Thank you so much. I will treasure it until I finish drinking it. Woohoo! Oh, it is from Naz Weasel. Thank you so very, very much. And, what's this? What's this? However did you know? Oh, my goodness, thank you. I'm going to enjoy this weekend. Let's see what Hakutsuru. I recognize this one, too. Hakutsuru Premium Junmai Daiginjo. That's Japanese for really good stuff. Wow. Let's see what the date is. Doesn't matter. I'll drink it anyway. Well, I got 6 minutes to kill. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry? I cannot go I would love to go to Germany this year, but I'll tell you guys something that a lot of people don't know. I actually lost my job back in March. The company I was working for decided they wanted to get rid of their top 5 highest paid scientists to save money. I guess I can be very proud to say that I had at one time been one of their top 5 highest paid scientists. That's why I'm consulting now. You see, a consultant is a person you hire to disagree with. That's the job of a consultant. You don't know what's going on, so you bring in another guy and you say, hey, consultant, what's going on? And the consultant says, well, this is what's going on. And then you say, no, it isn't. We're going to do it our way. As long as I get paid, man, I don't care. I used to look down on consultants because it seemed that nothing ever got done when they were around. Now I know why. They pay me to tell them what I think they should do, and then they do whatever the heck they want. It's a good gig if you can get it. It's definitely going to be a good weekend. I got 4 minutes now. Oh, boy. I really should have stayed backstage, shouldn't I? Okay, so two foxes walk into a bar and drink all the Guinness. What? Oh, hi. What's that? Oh, you're going to whisper to my, is my zipper open? Crap. I only got 50% of those words. What are the other ones? Yay. Apparently there is a message for me by some guy who he doesn't know who it is, and we don't know where he is. Well, that killed a minute. Thank you very much. Whoa, wait a minute. Thanks. What the hell? I'm buzzing. What's going on? People are not allowed to call me. It's Tian Long. You guys know who Tian Long is, right? Is anybody broadcasting this? Because he seems to know what's going on. Is he here? Tian Long wants me to tell a joke. Maybe I should say it in the Qianlong voice.
Blimey, grumpy dragon. Once there were 2 Chinese people. Now look how many there are.
Okay, that to a Chinese dragon, that's humor. Oh, my goodness, that looks like a fox. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Fox Moore. Believe it or not. Hey, what? Oh, well, tell him to get the heck off the stage. Oh, he said he has a fan behind him, but go ahead, turn it on. Turn it on. Oh, we have to plug it in. As I said, physics. I'm a chemist. Okay, try talking into the mic.
Hello, 1, 2. What? Hello.
Like, whoa.
Well, the thing is, if I shout very loud, my Scottish accent comes out, so. And my keyboard's gone.
Oh, what happened to the keyboard? Oh, he unplugged you. No, okay, we got 30 seconds to go, and he's unplugging keyboards here. It's still Friday, the 10th of November, it's 66 degrees.
Is it really?
Yeah, see?
It doesn't feel that warm out there.
Sorry, 19.
Okay.
Do you have any booze?
You can do it, it's fine.
Oh, well.
I'll take the keyboard over.
I speak metric. Hit the keys. Tell me what happens. Nope.
Nothing.
Nada.
Broken.
It's still 4:29, so we're not. Oh, God damn it! It's 4:30. Damn.
Look at that. Perfect.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Uncle Kage. This is Fox Amore. This is called Uncle Kage's Story Hour. We really have no idea why. I pretty much just consume these lovely gifts that were given to me up here and get increasingly incoherent while Fox Amore attempts to keep you occupied by his magnificent musical accompaniments. And unless I miss my guess, this is the first time we've tried to do this with you in the fur. Am I right?
That's right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is something of an experiment and a very, very special treat for all of you. This is the Fox Amore debut performance. So, he's going to tickle the ivories while I make noises with my face. Both of these sounds will converge in your ear holes and hopefully be pleasing to you. But that's physics. All right. I asked earlier if there were people who have seen this spate of stories this year, and either nobody raised their hands or I didn't see them, so who cares? We're going to say it anyway. I'm Uncle Kage. Hi. There are some things that people say about me. Many of them cannot be repeated, but one thing that is often said, and true, is you don't mess with Uncle Kage. Another thing that's often said is you don't mess with furry fandom when Uncle Kage's around. Because I like you guys. I think you're worth defending. I have had lots of fun this year telling stories about a guy who tried to do both. You want to hear about him? Let me tell you a story. Many years ago, in April last year, see, I'm the chairman of Anthro. It's a modestly sized furry convention in Pittsburgh. Because of our modest size, we have to handle a lot of financial transactions, and we had gotten a point of sale system. Now, I don't involve myself in these things. I got people for that, all right? The guy who's in charge of our blah, blah, whatever uses that stuff, some department, is a guy named Shadow Wolf. He's the only person in furry fandom with that name. True. Shadow Wolf called me up in March and said, Kage, we need a POS. I said, I'll sell you mine. He said, no, we need a point-of-sale system. I said, you have one. He said, we need a better one. Now, if you are involved with Anthrocon or you are a business person in the city of Pittsburgh, you know that when you approach me about spending money, it's going to be one of two answers. It's either going to be, how much is it going to cost me? Or simply, no! But Shadow Wolf insisted that we could do a lot better with our Artist's Alley and our con store with this point-of-sale system. We could take the existing point-of-sale system and we could just expand it with a new point-of-sale system and we could add it, and my brain went, meh. How much? He said about $7,500. I said, okay, just go buy it, go play. So Shadow Wolf called me back up at the end of March and said, okay, I contacted the person who sold us our old POS system. It's an outfit in Utah. We can send them the money and they will send us the new POS system. I said, okay, great. So I was given the phone number of the fellow, a guy named Doug. I'm not going to mention his last name on advice of counsel, but I'm just going to use the initial O. So he was Doug O. Doug O. Doug O told me, you can send us a check and I will send you your POS system. And I said, well, why can't I give you a credit card number? He said, well, you know, credit cards, you got the 3% plus and surcharge and everything. It would be a lot better if you just send us a check. We can get everything rolling. Just put a check in a FedEx envelope and send it to us. Now, you see this coat? Do you think that this means I'm smart? I said, sure, what could go wrong? So I sent him the check. Time passed. It was a lovely April. April showers brought Mayflowers. The Mayflowers brought pilgrims. It's a very old joke. But I'm very old. Around middle of May, thereabout, I called up Shadow Wolf and said, have you gotten that point-of-sale system? He said, did you order it? And I said, uh-oh. Yes, I did. Get in touch with Doug O and tell him that I'm kind of interested in actually receiving the thing. Because, you see, I kind of imagined that when we made this business deal that I would send him money and then he would send me merchandise in return. That's called capitalism. It's very popular where I come from. Shadow Wolf, for a couple of weeks, could not get anywhere with Doug O. He kept getting a voicemail that said, our offices are closed to observe a local holiday. We'll be open tomorrow. Now, this is Utah, and I don't know, maybe there's some facet to the Mormon religion that I'm not familiar with. Like they take the entire month of May off. But when we didn't get very far, I instructed Shadow Wolf, and these are the exact words I said. I want you to leave a message for Doug O and tell him that you're very concerned because the CEO of your organization is a dangerously unbalanced psychotic. And Shadow Wolf said, why should I say that? I said, because it's true. Well, that got some movement. Doug O promised Shadow Wolf that he would send the point-of-sale system by, I don't recall, some day. That day came and went. And I called up Shadow Wolf and I said, Shadow Wolf, called him Shadow Wolf, has Doug O sent that point-of-sale system by the deadline we gave? And Shadow Wolf said, no. And I said, good. Because now it's my turn. You see, Anthrocon has roughly 7,500 people. It involves the entire city of Pittsburgh, 10 hotels, and a giant convention center. It's a little stressful. You see this? I'm 25 years old.
Liar.
You're right, I'm 28. Any way that I can channel all that rage is very therapeutic, and Duggo was right in my sights. I sent him an email that said, Dear Doug, call me, and my phone number. Well, Duggo wrote back, and he said, Yes, I know. We've got it. It's ready. There's just 1 or 2 pieces. It's going to be out by the end of the... It's coming. Yes. And I wrote back, That's nice. Call me. And he responded, I can't. I'm not in my office. Now, I don't know if anybody here has ever been to Utah, but it's a very, very wild and woolly place. They only have 1 telephone in the entire state, and it's in Duggo's office. So I decided to get sarcastic. I sent a note to Duggo saying, listen, I want this by this date, or we're going to cancel the order. That date came and went, predictably, and I sent an email, CC to Shadow Wolf, saying, Duggo, cancel the order. We no longer want your POS. Shadow Wolf, get me another one from another vendor. Duggo wrote back, I can't cancel the order. It's already shipped. Well, hallelujah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I say, okay, at this point, many of you in this fine audience are going to say, Uncle Kage's exaggerating. He's making things up. But I'm going to tell you how the email exchange went. I wrote back, well, that's nice. Can you give me a tracking number for the shipment? And Duggo wrote back, yes. I wrote back, okay. When will I get the tracking number for the shipment? And Duggo wrote back, end of the day. Nice. The end of the day came and went. I probably should have asked him which day. The next day I gave him till noon. Shadow Wolf said he hadn't received anything. I hadn't gotten a tracking number. So I wrote an email to Duggo saying, do you have my tracking number? And Duggo wrote back, I don't like your attitude. I'm not going to deal with you anymore. I'm only going to talk to Shadow Wolf. Oh, yeah. I wrote back, Dearest Doug, cancel the order. I want my money back. Shadow, if you get the equipment, I want you to return it. Refused. We do not want your POS. Duggo wrote back a long email that started with the words, "You can't, and I'm going to, and you have no right." I didn't read any further. I just archived it because I have better things to do. An interesting aside, Shadow Wolf bought a new point-of-sale system, and he tried to make it talk to the old point-of-sale system that we had gotten from Duggo. When he plugged the two together, the operating system on the new point-of-sale flagged Duggo's software as malicious spyware. The plot sickens. Anthrocon came and went. When I came home, I had no check from Duggo. I sent him an email with basically an ultimatum, and I said, "I have not got my check. I want it now. Where am it?" I didn't hear an answer in 24 hours. So I decided it was time to go to the next level. I looked up on the internet what's involved with suing a person in the state of Utah. I like Utah. If you want to sue a person for that amount of money, it's a 4-page document and $100. And the document has wide spaces. It's a very easy document. It's like Fisher-Price, my first lawsuit. It's, oh, yeah, really, that's it. Okay, what is your name? What is the schmuck's name? Why are you suing the schmuck? Easy. I bought some stuff from him. He did not send it to me. I want my money back. Help me. A week later, I got all that back from the state of Utah with a big stamp on it that said accepted and said, "You now have a court date." This was July. Court date was the 5th of October. That's how courts work. But I had time. Now, for those of you who are unaware, once you have filed a lawsuit against somebody, boy, I wish the boozy barrister was here. He'd really help out. Once you file a lawsuit against someone, you now have to serve official notice on them. You might have heard the expression, "you've been served." You have a person who is like certifiable or something who goes up and physically hands the paper to the guy. Bam! You can't say you didn't get the paper. I gave it to you. You've been served. You now know you have a court date. Well, who serves the papers? Interestingly enough, a guy called a process server. So I looked up process servers in this little town in Utah, and I found one, and I called him. And I said, "Hey, are you a process server?" He said, "Yes, I am." I said, "I got a schmo out there. He owes me money, and he ain't paying up, and I'm suing him, and I need you to give him some papers." And the process server said, "Well, that's understandable. That's what we do. Okay, let's start with the basics. What's your name?" I said, "My name is Sam Conway. I'm with Anthro Incorporated." And he said, "And what's the name of the schmo?" And I said, "Well, his name is Doug O." And there was a pause. And he said, "Doug O?" And I said, "Yes." And the process server said, "Ah." I said, "Do you know him?" And the process server says, we've heard of him." "Really? Do you need his address?" "Oh, no, we're good. We got that." So within days, I got the papers back from the process server saying, "Doug O has been served the papers. He now knows he's being sued. He has a court date on the 5th of October. I want to let you know the lengths that I am willing to go to for furry fandom. I flew from Raleigh, North Carolina to Salt Lake City, Utah on Southwest Airlines. On the night of the 4th of October. Now, if you're going to go to court, you can't wear a lab coat. Well, you can, but they might think that you're a little strange. It would almost be like wearing a fursuit, although that would have been fun. I've got my court clothes behind me here. Keep me entertained, Fox. I'll be right back. All ready for court. Your Honor, this Duggo, he has offended my family. I drove out to this little town outside of Provo, Utah. Now the camera guys are pissed off because I just know I'm blowing their white balance all to hell. So I drove back to this little town, rented a car, stayed in a nice hotel, woke up the next day, went to court.
What was that?
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I heard that too. Where'd that come from? Oh, fuck. I mean, oh, heck. Excuse me. Sorry, I'll be right back. Give us a sec. Hi, Tom. Really sorry about that. I'm actually on stage right now and somehow managed to butt dial you. Yeah, I'm here. Do you hear me? I'm really sorry. As I said, I'm actually on stage performing right now and somehow managed to butt dial you. I'm terribly embarrassed, but I didn't want you to think that I was like blowing you off or anything. Oh, you're famous now. Everybody knows about you. Okay. Oh, thanks, Tom. Goodbye.
Bye, Tom.
Oh, that's my boss. I'm sorry, I kind of lost my place. Where was I? Oh, arriving at court. Thank you. I'm going to leave this here. That's never happened before. Oh, my God.
There's a lot of new things on this one.
Oh, damn it. Give me a second here. You know, it's not often I'm speechless. Okay, showed up at court. Okay. Now, when I got to the courthouse, I was a little unnerved because everybody was given the same time to show up, 8:30 a.m., and there were 20, maybe 30 people all sitting together in a big waiting area outside the courtroom. And it occurred to me, I don't know what Duggo looks like. So I found a seat kind of as far away from everybody else as I could, and I just kind of sat and, stared at my lap. And after a few moments, I glanced around, and I noticed everybody else was sitting staring at their lap. At the exact stroke of 8:30, the door of the courtroom opened, a bailiff comes out. He says, "Okay, everybody inside." So we all went inside. Beautiful courtroom, oak paneling, all, nice benches in the back there. Very, very Judge Judy. It was really cool. So we went in and we sat down. And again, everybody's staring at their knees or at the fox next to them. And can you blame me? I mean, look at that scarf. I just love that scarf. I got a scarf thing. Anyhow, a few moments later, a door in the back opened, and in came the bailiff, a court reporter, and the judge. And the bailiff said, "All rise." Okay, all rise. We all rose. Take off your hat, too, gentlemen. And the judge came in and said, "Be seated." Oh, just like that game in kindergarten. Oh, okay, we can do that. No, keep the hat off. All right. And the judge said some judge things, judgy, this, that. I'm a judge, yay me. And then the bailiff came up and said, "Everybody whose case is going to be adjudicated," I really wish the boozy barrister was here, by, what do you call that thing when a guy comes in and he knows more than you do? What's his name? Anyway, it's going to be... Okay, any lawyers out there, when you get an impartial guy who comes in and says, "Okay, I think you're a schmuck and you're not." What? No, not an expert. What do you call that guy? Mediator. Oh, that's it, a mediator. Thank you. He's like a consultant. He comes in and tells you stuff, and you tell him he's wrong. Anybody whose case is going to be adjudicated by mediation, everybody get up and go with me. Everybody else stood up. I started to stand up, and the bailiff said, "Anthro Khan?" I said, "Yes, guilty. Yes, I am. That's me." And he said, "Your case is going to be adjudicated here. Have a seat." All right. It is that game in kindergarten. Everybody left and left me all alone in the courtroom, all by myself. And it was kind of lonely in there. I'm getting a little nervous because time was passing, and is this a joke? I kept looking at the judge's big chair on the swivel and thinking, that'd be fun. I can go up there. Whee. But after a while, a door opened, right? And a little Mexican man came in with a vacuum cleaner. Muchas gracias. Then he left. Thank you. So I sat back down. I wanted to get my cell phone out, but I was afraid I might butt down my boss. Again. I'm just going to keep going, all right? And you heard that actually happened. You heard that, right? Yeah. Oh, God. Anyway, hang on, I need this. Time passed. I don't know how much time passed. When finally, the door opened in the back, and in came the judge, the bailiff, and the court reporter. And the bailiff said, "All rise." So the judge said, "Step forward." So I stepped forward. Oh boy, they had a lectern there. You put Uncle Kage in front of a lectern, and this was like, oh, I was in my element. So the judge said, "Okay, state your case." I said, "Your Honor, I am, representing Anthro Incorporated. We're a bunch of furries. That's not important right now. This guy, Duggo, he's a schmuck, and he took my money, and I want my money back. He didn't give me anything. Help me." And the judge said, "Where is the defendant?" I said, "I don't know, Your Honor. It's just me here." And the judge sort of scowled, and he started flipping through the papers. And then he knitted his brow further. He flipped back and forth, and he said, "Mr. Conway, did you come all the way out to Utah from North Carolina?" And I said, Yes, Your Honor, I did." And the judge said, "And the defendant didn't show up?" I said, "That would appear to be the case, Your Honor." And the judge said, how much do you figure it cost you to get out here? I said, oh, well, let's see, Your Honor. I happen to have a fully detailed list of my travel expenses right here. Itemized, Microsoft Excel. The judge took it. He's fishing through. Oh, let's see. Airfare, hotel, rental car. Uh-huh. Did you have breakfast this morning? Yes. How much did it cost you for breakfast? Oh, about $11, $12, $25. Yeah, that's good. I like that. $25 breakfast. He got it up to about $8,500 from the original $7,500. And then he took this big rubber stamp that says, defendant is a schmuck. He must give Uncle Kage. The stamp actually says he must give Uncle Kage money. They got one made for me. And I decided at that point to press the issue. I said, I beg your pardon, Your Honor. I have some additional information that may be germane to the case. I learned that from Judge Judy. I like Judge Judy. Oh, she's a Jill, I'll tell you. Sorry, I went away for a moment. I'm back. I wasn't talking to you, Tom, no. Anyway. Apparently, Your Honor, this is not the first time that Mr. O has failed to appear to a court-ordered appearance. And the judge's face clouded over. And he said, is that so? And I said, apparently, Your Honor, 2 days before he accepted my check, he failed to appear on another case where somebody else was suing him. And the judge said, do you happen to have the details of that case? Well, Your Honor, actually, I happen to have all the details of that case right here. And the judge looked at that, and he was getting very angry, and I decided it was time. I said, Your Honor, I don't know if you're in a position to advise me, but, it's barely 10 o'clock, and my flight back to Raleigh isn't until 6 tonight. What do you say about me taking these papers personally and giving them to Doug O? And the judge looked up, and he looked at the bailiff, and the bailiff said, judge looked back at me, and he got a little piece of paper. He wrote on it. He handed it to me. Handed it to me with the papers, and he said, this is the address of the sheriff's department in that town. Go talk to them. So I took a drive. I went to the sheriff's office. I said, howdy, ma'am. I want to talk to the sheriff. This is cool. I like this. So, the sheriff's deputy came out. He looked kind of, oh, I got to deal with this guy. Oh, I got better stuff to do than this nonsense. All right. What's your name? Conway. Yeah, whatever. Conway. What's your first name? Doesn't matter. What the hell? Okay, what's the name of the guy you're complaining about? I said, well, his name is Mr. O. And the deputy said, Doug O? I said, as a matter of fact, yes. And the deputy suddenly looked very interested in the case. And I said, well, Mr. Deputy, I was thinking to take these papers out and give them to Doug O, and I was just wondering if maybe somebody from your department might want to go along with me just to make sure everything is neighborly. The deputy said, I'm not busy. I said, let's go. So I got in my car. Wasn't drinking this. I got in my car. He got in his squad car. We started down the road at 25 miles an hour. When you're driving with a cop on your tail, it's very annoying. Pulled up on Main Street. We're looking for, I don't remember, number 220, I guess. 220 Main Street. That sounds good. We got out of the cars. We We started walking. We could almost hear the spurs. Ching, 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 ching. We walked up to number 220, a dusty storefront with the windows boarded up. And I thought, well, this might be the end of my journey. But the deputy noticed a little tiny sign in the window said, "Deliveries for number 220 are in the rear." He said, "We could go knock on the back door and see if anybody's home." I said, "We could do that. You got time?" He said, "I got time." I said, "Let's go." So we walked around back. Ching, 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 ching. All the doors looked alike. They didn't have numbers on them. So I found one that looked like it should be number 220, and I knocked. I rang the bell. The bell. 3 times. And the door opened, and a nice young lady answered. And she said, "May I help you?" I said, "Oh, yes, ma'am. I hope I'm not wasting your time. Is this number 220? And she said, "Yes, it is." I said, "Oh, I suspect I am wasting your time. You see, I was looking for a gentleman named O." And she said, "Doug O?" I said, "Yes, as a matter of fact." And she said, "Is he still using this as his business address? He hasn't been here for 2 years." I said, "Really? Well, ma'am, you wouldn't happen to know where he's doing business now, would you?" And she said, "No, but I have something that might help." She ran in the back, and she came out with a big rolled up piece of paper, and she spread it out for us. It was a blueprint for an office remodeling from when Doug O had been there. There was the name, Doug O, and an address. And the deputy leaned over my shoulder. He said, "That's a residential address." I said, "Really? Is it nearby?" He said, "Yes, it is." And I said, "How nice. You busy?" He said, "I'm not busy." I said, "Let's go." We got back in the cars, and we headed to this address at 25 miles an hour. God, you don't want to have a deputy behind you. God damn it. And I'm sure the deputy's back there saying, "Why is this old guy going so slow?" We drove to this address. Let me tell you, Doug O's house went from here on. It was a palatial estate. 400 rooms, 800 bathrooms, terraced lawn, built-in pool, 4-car garage, a giant travel trailer in the driveway that was as long as this room. The deputy scowled and he said, "This guy is as bad as a drug dealer." And I said, "Oh, no. Drug dealers work for their money." So we walked up to the door. And I rang the bell. Which was out of order, so I knocked. After multiple attempts to make noise at the door opened, and a young man, teenage-looking fellow, poked his nose out, and he said, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yes, I'm looking for Doug O." And the boy said, "Well, he's not here right now." I said, "Oh, that's a shame." And he looked over my shoulder and he said, "What's this guy doing here?" And I turned around and the deputy's standing there like this. I said, oh, it doesn't matter. So you must be Doug's, you're his, and the boy said, I'm his son. I said, yes, his son. I learned that from the media. Well, you see, your father and I, we had an appointment this morning, very important appointment, and he didn't show up, and I got worried, so I thought I'd come here to make sure everything was okay. That's why I brought this gentleman with me. Is he all right? And the boy said, well, I think he is. I said, oh, do you know where he is? And the boy said, no. I said, oh, well, he probably just got busy. I'm sure everything's fine. Are you, by the way, by chance over the age of 18? He said, yes, I am. I said, oh, great. Could you do me a favor and sign this piece of paper I have here? That's great. Oh, and could you also sign this other piece of paper that says I gave you the first piece of paper? There's a good boy. I like you. Okay. Thank you very much. Tell your dad I said hi. And I turned, and we started to walk away, and I looked at the deputy, and he was walking like this. I said, I know. And we got back to his squad car, and he perked up, and he said, would you like to file a fraud complaint? I said, well, that sounds like fun. How do I do that? He said, well, you have to talk to a city police officer. This is a nuance of the law. The sheriff's department does one thing. They're the civil division. The cops do the criminal division. So he said, you'd have to talk to a police officer. I said, well, I had called a police officer on the phone, but I didn't get very far. And the deputy said, well, did you tell them the name of the guy you were after? I said, I don't think I did. He said, well, that was your problem. Who did you talk to at the police department? I said, I don't remember. It was Officer something. So the deputy said, well, I'll bring an officer out here, and regardless, you can give a fraud complaint to him. So within about 2 minutes, another squad car pulled up with different colors on it, rolled the window down, and the deputy and I walked up to the window, and the police officer turned and looked at us. The deputy said, this is Mr. Conway. He's here to give some papers to Mr. O. And the policeman said, Doug O? And the deputy said, as a matter of fact, yes. The policeman got very, very interested. And he said, who did you speak to at our office? I said, I honestly don't remember. Oh, wait. The guy emailed me after our conversation. Let me go back to my car. My phone is in the car. I'll go get it and find out who I emailed. Okay, great. I went over here, and I'm fishing through my phone. And meanwhile, at the end of the street came a monstrous, enormous, diamond-encrusted Ford Escalade rolling slowly down the street. And it stopped when it saw these two squad cars in front of this palatial mansion. And I saw the deputy go up to the passenger side window and have a conversation, and he nodded in my direction. And that Ford Escalade pulled forward into that 4-car garage, and the doors closed. I get out of the car, and I was like, the deputy said, okay, oh boy, here we go. I went right to the very edge of the driveway, and I stood there. I got all day. after some time, I don't know how long, the door opened, and out came an older-looking gentleman carrying a very familiar piece of paper. And I said, "Excuse me, are you Doug O?" Because I figured the very heavy Philadelphia accent would serve me well right now. He said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, I'm Sam Conway with Anthro. We had an engagement this morning, and I somehow missed you. I thought maybe we could, talk it over." And he walked up to me, and he leaned over and he said, "What are these gentlemen doing here?" And I turned around, and both officers are doing this. And I said, they found out that I'm new in town, and they just wanted to make sure I didn't get lost. But that's neither here nor there. I'll tell you what, you're a busy guy. Let me cut to the chase. You got my money, and I'm here to collect it. And he said, "Well, you attempted to refuse delivery, and we tried to." I said, "Doug, hey, stop. I got doctor in front of my name. Don't dick with me, okay? Let's just put it like this. You owe me money. I'm here to take the money. But you know what? I'm really enjoying this beautiful landscape you got out here. You might have noticed the judge gave me all the travel expenses that it cost me. I'm so happy to be here in the beautiful town of Provo, whatever, Utah. I'm going to make a deal with you. If you just give me the money that you owe to my organization, I'll let you go on all that extra stuff the judge gave me. We'll call it square, okay?" He said, "Well, that sounds fair." I said, "Yeah, it does." He said, "Give me your bank information. I'll wire it to you." I said, "I got a better idea. You're going to send me a check, a cashier's check from the bank, in the mail, with a tracking number, which I suggest you sends to me. When do you think you can get that to me?" He said, "I can have it by the end of the month." I said, "Oh, yeah, the end of this month. October 2016, yeah. You gets the money to me by Halloween, and we're going to call it square, all right? You'll never see this face again." He said, "That's fair," and he held his hand out. And I took it. Yeah. And I turned around, and I noticed that the police officer had sat back down in his squad car like this. I went up, and I reached the window, and I said, "I know." And he looked at me, his eyes red and moist, and he said, "I was really hoping he would take a swing at you. That would have been such an easy arrest." I said, "I know." And he had his little, police have a little computer, a little laptop in there, so if the cop is bored, he can play Minesweeper or something, And here's Doug O's name, and in big red letters next to it, it says, "Shady Business Dealings." So I was talking to him, telling him my story. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw that big door of that 4-car garage open, and that giant diamond-encrusted Ford Escalade started driving out my direction. I'm leaning in the window of the squad car, and with my eyes on the cop, I said, "Do you suppose he'll try to run me down?" And the cop said, "Oh, I hope so." But he didn't. I saw him take this wide detour, and as he did, I just did this. Well, Duggo drove off into the sunny day, and I flew back to Raleigh, waiting for the end of the month. Halloween came and went. Yeah. Did you honestly think so? No. Halloween came and went. I sent an email to Doug saying, yo, Doug, I'm kind of disappointed. I even wrote in the Philly accent. I'm kind of disappointed. I mean, we got this gentleman's agreement here. I was really hoping we could put it behind us. But unfortunately, now I'm going to have to ask you for the full amount. And I kind of want to know when you're going to send it to me, okay? He didn't write back. Now, as many of you know, the internet is a frightening and dark place. But if you're a frightening and dark person, you know how to use it to your advantage. I was able to find out where Duggo is doing business now. And I called that establishment. A nice lady answered. And I said, yeah, I'd like to speak to Duggo. And she said, may I ask who's calling? Okay, now is a moment of decision. Now, I'm going to do this honestly. I said, tell him it's Sam Conway with Anthro. That's wit, W-I-T apostrophe wit Anthro. She said, just a moment, and I was put on hold, and I got the hold music. And it went on, it was pretty. But after about 2 full minutes, Duggo's voicemail came on. Said, hi, this is Duggo. I'm not here. Leave a message. So I left a short message saying, yo, Doug, it's your buddy Sam. I sent you an email. I just kind of wondered if you got it, all right? And that was it. Not 30 seconds later, I got an angry email from Doug in all caps with a very heavy Utah accent, which I don't know how it sounds. I was only reading it, but he said, look, I told you you'd get your money. Don't ever call me again. And I wrote back, but Doug, I like talking to you so much. I mean, can't we just get this taken care of? I really don't want this to affect our friendship. And he wrote back, I'm going to tell you one more time. You'll get the money when I am ready to give you the money. If you call me again, you'll just delay the process. And I wrote back, oh, Doug, I really don't want us to be like this. You know, we can still be friends. Look, I have an idea. I'm going to be back in Utah in 3 weeks visiting some friends of mine. Why don't we come to your place and talk it over? We could sit by the pool, knock back a few beers, maybe invite that young son of yours. He looked like a fine young man. Doug didn't respond to that. So I decided it was time to call a lawyer. Where was the boozy barrister when I needed him? He hadn't become part of the fandom yet by that point. So I called a lawyer in Utah. And I called up Mr. Utah Lawyer. I said, Mr. Utah Lawyer, I got a problem. I got a piece of paper that says this guy's a schmo and he owes me money and he's not giving me the money. What can I do? Well, that was the North Carolina accent coming out, wasn't it? Yeah. Sorry. I lived a lot of places. And the lawyer said, well, we do handle collections. Okay, let's start at the beginning. Do you have the case number? I gave him the case number. He said, what's the name of the defendant? I said, well, it's a Mr. O. And the lawyer said, lawyer said, okay, here's how it works. Send me $1,000 retainer. That means I'm your lawyer. So I'd send him $1,000. And he said, okay, there's a couple of things we can do. Minding the time. We can put a lien on his house, which will mean he won't be able to sell the house until he settles this debt. I said, yeah, but that could be 35 years from now. I kind of want the money now. So the lawyer said, okay, we're going to do that anyway, just on principle. But the next thing we can do is we can send him a summons to appear on a follow-up hearing where he'll have to explain to the judge why he hasn't paid you. And I said, well, yeah, but he didn't show up to the first hearing. What makes us think he'll show up to this one? So the lawyer said, well, you have a point. The next thing we can do is we can get what's called a writ of execution, which despite its name, basically it will allow us to start seizing his personal property and selling it till the debt is settled. I said, that's the one. So the lawyer said, well, not so fast. We have to find out what his personal property is. I said, well, there's a really sweet travel trailer in his driveway. But the lawyer said, does he own it? I said, well, it's in his driveway. Well, the lawyer instructed me that unless it's legally in his name, he doesn't own it. We can't touch it. We can only take personal property that, according to the state of Utah, he owns. So I said to the lawyer, how do we find out what that is? And the lawyer said, that's what you're paying me for. I'll call you back. A number of days went by, and the lawyer called back, and he said, well, Duggo does not own that travel trailer. It's not in his name. I said, "Aw." But the lawyer said, I did find out what he does own. I said, oh, do tell me. And the lawyer said, okay, he owns a Ford Expedition, a Kawasaki motorcycle, a Cadillac Escalade, a Porsche Boxster, and a Lamborghini. And I said, do I get to pick which one we go after? And the lawyer said, no. Oh, because we're going to go after all of them. I said, oh, I'm starting to like you. So several days later, a state constable showed up at Duggo's house and knocked on the door or rang the bell. Thank you. He was a little late getting there. Rang twice. And apparently, Mrs. O answered the door. And the constable said, I'm here to take your stuff. Where's the Lamborghini? And Mrs. O said, oh, we sold it. The constable said, well, that's a shame. Where's the Porsche? She said, we sold that too. So the constable said, did you also sell the Cadillac Escalade, which I saw you driving yesterday? She said, oh no, that's in the repair shop. The constable said, where's the repair shop? Give me the address. So she gave him the address, and the constable drove away. Halfway to the repair shop, his cell phone rang. It was not Time that time. It was Duggo. And Duggo said, is this the constable? And the constable said, yes, it is. And Duggo said, my wife misspoke. When she said we sold the Lamborghini, what she meant to say was we did not sell the Lamborghini. Now, I can only imagine the phone conversation that Duggo got when his wife rang up and said, hi, Dougie, it's me, Mrs. O. I just lied to a state official. Is that bad? The constable turned around and headed back to the house. When he got to the house, there was Doug O with $1,000 cash in his hand. And I said to the lawyer, so? And the lawyer said, well, he has made the attempt to pay on the debt. We now have to give him the opportunity to do the rest. I said, Duggo had told the constable, I can have the rest of the money by next Thursday. So I said, at 4:55 p.m. Thursday, I want a phone call from you with a report. At 4:55 p.m. the next Thursday, the lawyer called me and said, Duggo showed up in the office with another $5,000. He's still $2,500 short. He asked if he can have until next Friday for the rest. And I said, no. He's had enough breaks. He's had enough opportunities. I want the constable there with a tow truck now. And I don't mean now, I mean the now when I first said now. That's when I want him there. And the lawyer said, well, slow down, Mr. Conway. It costs money to seize these vehicles. We have to pay the towing costs. We have to pay the constable. We have to pay the storage. We got to hire an auctioneer. This could run into several $1,000s. Are you sure it's worth it? And I said, it's worth it to me. Go and get his stuff now. I didn't actually say it that way. Actually, yes, I did, now that I think about it. Just like that, exactly like that. On Monday, the lawyer called back. And he said, I told Doug O that he can have till Friday to get the rest of the money. And I said, I told you. And the lawyer said, before you get mad, it's my job to look out for your best interest. This would have cost you as much as he owed you. And I said, it doesn't matter. I want him to suffer. I want him to bleed. I want to hear the lamentations of his women. And the lawyer shut me down with the words, Mr. Conway, do I represent Anthro or do I represent you? And I said, you. Well played. On Friday, Doug O showed up with the rest of the money. And thus, he had settled the debt to Anthro, if not to me. And the story might have ended there had it not been for the fact we're out of time. I'm sorry, we were given an hour on stage, ladies and gentlemen, and at this point, we are going to have to say goodnight. I want to thank all of you for your attention, and I especially want to thank the incredible, very, very fluffy Fox Amore for his musical accompaniment. If you're interested in the rest of the story, I'm going to go out to dinner. When I come back to dinner, I'm going to him in the bar and we'll talk. But elsewise, thank you very much for your attention, ladies and gentlemen. I am Uncle Kage. This is Fox and More.